this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Stuff You Should Know is brought to you by Grainger. Grainger knows that if you're an HVAC technician and a call comes in, you need a partner that helps you find the right product, fast and hassle-free. And you know that when the first problem of the day is a clanking blower motor, there's no need to break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product details, you can be confident that soon you'll have everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. Hey everybody, the official Big Bang Theory podcast is back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Each week, host Jessica Radloff speaks with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, Mayim Bialik, and Kevin Sussman. Hear about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines. Watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh, there's Chuck, and this is Stuff You Should Know for 7 letters.
I'm really excited about this one because you and I chatted recently, I think probably on our super secret trip, our research trip out west, about my new crossword passion, which started, I don't know, sometime in 2022, where I started dabbling in the New York Times crossword for the first time, doing Monday, Tuesday-ish. I would try Wednesdays, and then I was like, I wouldn't even try anything past that because I knew they got progressively harder, and I wasn't, I was just sort of learning the language of crosswords, which is a thing we'll talk about.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try these other ones. And before you know it, I'm doing all 7 days.
Oh, really?
And finishing them with my little cheats, which we'll talk about as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Saturdays too, huh?
Saturdays too. And I love doing it so much. It has really added a lot of happiness to my life. I really, really enjoy it.
Man, do some crosswords, take a good nap, drink some Amaro. You got to figure it out.
It's all coming up, Chuck.
So the New York Times, you just said it's all coming up, Chuck. The New York Times is probably the most, at least iconic, if not well-known in the United States at least, crossword puzzle in the whole country.
Sure.
One thing I didn't know, Olivia helps us with this, is that the New York Times was actually the last metropolitan newspaper by far to start running their own crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
Because for a good 20-ish years, the New York Times just looked down its nose at crosswords as a brainless fad that would surely end any day now. And it just never did, and they finally caved. And then, 60, 80 years later, something like that. About 80 years. Wow, that's crazy. It's now like the number one crossword puzzle of all time ever.
Yeah, the paper of record.
Yeah.
So should we talk about the inventor?
Of the word cross?
Yeah, that's what it was called at first. His name was, he was a Brit, and he was an immigrant. He was a British immigrant. What does that mean?
He was an immigrant to the United States from Great Britain, from Liverpool to be specific.
All right, I get it now. His name was Arthur Wynne, with 2 N's and 1 Y, and an E and a W. And there were some, we didn't really go over the prehistory of crosswords, but there had been sort of crossword-like word puzzles for hundreds and thousands of years in some cases. And Wynne was probably pretty familiar with these, and he managed what was called the fun section of New York World that had puzzles and jokes and things like that. And then finally in 1913, he said, in our Christmas edition this year, I've created a puzzle called a word cross that was shaped like a diamond, had no blacked out squares, and had, sort of crossword clues like we would recognize them today.
Yeah. I mean, it was essentially a crossword. He just got the name wrong. He got the name swapped.
Well, he got it right. Who got it wrong, but ended up being right, was an illustrator who accidentally swapped those words. And it was cross-word, capital C, capital W.
Yeah.
And that name stuck, and it eventually they said, let's quit with a little dash in the middle, and let's go ahead and make it one word.
Yep. And Wynn was like, hey, this is actually starting to get kind of popular within just a few months. And he went to the publishers of the world and said, hey, we should probably patent this. And the world said, do you know how much it costs to patent something these days? $100. Get out of my office. And did not ever patent the crossword. And I think that was actually it was a bad move on the world's part, but I think it was really great for the world.
The world.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That would be very strange if crosswords were patented, I think.
Yeah. I don't think that they would be anywhere near as prevalent as they are now. So in that sense, the publishers of the world gave us all a pretty neat present.
And we are going to give you a pretty neat present by introducing you to a woman named Margaret Petherbridge. This was, at the time, Arthur Wynn's secretary. And he said, hey, you're pretty sharp. Why don't you take this job over? And it turned out she had a real knack for not only creating crosswords, but kind of codifying what crosswords were and sort of the rules of crosswords. She was the earliest one to sort of put in place these rules, like, hey, you should have a separate list for across and for down, and you shouldn't have any unchecked boxes, which is a square that's only part of one word. Like, it should all tie together.
Yeah, and very early on, I think if she didn't add the black squares, which are called blanks, the squares you actually fill in, they're called lights. She helped standardize them because very quickly they, if you look at a crossword, I never knew this before until we started researching this. If you look at all the blanks, the squares, they're symmetrical. If you look at the left side and the right side, they're mirror images of one another. You can turn it on its side, and the top and the bottom are mirror images of one another. And I was like, why? How does that help anything? And apparently, they just decided, I think if it wasn't Margaret Petherbridge, it was somebody she was friends with early on, that symmetry is just beautiful, so make it symmetrical.
Well, they're not always like that.
They are.
I mean, I'm looking at today's, and it's not symmetrical.
No, I spent so much time trying to find like something that undermined that, and I didn't. Like I was like, oh, it is symmetrical. That's symmetrical. Holy cow, that's symmetrical.
Did you look at any crossword puzzles?
Yes, I looked at crossword puzzles. Apparently, I didn't look at the one from today though.
Well, today's not. It has a great deal of symmetry now that I'm looking at it, and this is something I've never noticed. But for instance, I'm looking at one which on the right side is an L. And on the other side, it's an L minus the bottom square of that L.
Okay.
So it's not quite symmetrical, but it is kind of symmetrical in some parts.
I'm so sick of this stupid conversation.
Are you looking at the today's yet?
I can't. I don't have my login right now. So
right. Well, I'll take a screenshot.
I'll take your word for it, man.
All right.
I'm just so bummed though.
Because you thought that was like the fact of the show.
It was one of them, for sure. Okay. And now it turned out to be the incorrect fact of the show.
Well, let's move on to the 1920s when a young company called Simon & Schuster said, Richard Simon's aunt, I think, said, hey, these crosswords are a lot of fun. You guys should package these together in a book because you're a book company. And so they hired Margaret Petherbridge, codifier of rules and master crossword designer, to put this book together. And she got a couple of other editors from the world and said, all right, let's get to work on this thing. It'll come out in 1924. It'll come with a free pencil and eraser, which is super cute.
Yeah.
And sold 123,000 copies in that first year.
Yeah, and that one did so well that they released a second edition and a third edition all within the same year. And all combined, those three editions by Christmas time had sold more than 250,000 copies. Which is, for a fledgling publishing house, that's a pretty big thing. But also, they were very smart. Simon & Schuster, they created the Amateur Crossword Puzzle League of America to basically help promote crossword solving, I guess is what they call it.
Crossword doing?
In order to help sell more books. And it worked, actually. It became a legitimate thing. They started standardizing crosswords as well.
Oh, hold on. You know what? I think I'm wrong. I just sent you...
Yes.
So it's a mirror image in a way. It's not, I thought everything would correspond directly across from one another.
No.
But it also works diagonally. So I see what you mean. It is symmetrical if you include the diagonal.
So if you look in the top right corner, the bottom left corner should be the mirror image of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's symmetrical. They're all symmetrical. It's insane. Because it makes it so much harder.
Oh, man. I'm so glad we solved that for you because
Thank you. Thanks
I
for
made
going
you
to
feel
that trouble.
dumb when I was dumb.
No, you didn't make me feel dumb.
I kept looking at it and I was like, how can parts of it be symmetrical? That didn't make any sense.
Right.
But I was looking for like a direct flip. It's hard to explain how my brain was looking at.
This is a rare in-show correction.
For one of us against the other.
Right. Back to the Amateur Crossword Puzzle League of America.
Yes.
Which sounds like they were all wearing capes while they
Totally
did crosswords. But they had some rules like no part of the puzzle can be completely cut off from the rest.
Sure.
So you can't use black squares to just make an island of one grid. You also can't use tons of black squares. They actually, as we'll see, make it easier to create a crossword because using black squares breaks up the stuff so you don't have to come up with. So a typical, I think, New York Times crossword is 15 across and 15 down. So if you didn't use black squares, you would have to come up with 15 letter words. So no, I guess 30 15-letter words, which would be really, really hard because they'd also all have to interact. So they use these black squares to kind of break things up and make it a little easier on themselves to shorten the letters and words and stuff like that. But the Amateur Crossword Puzzle League of America said, okay, no more than 1/6 of all the squares can be blanks, can be the black squares, because after that, you're really just kind of making a lame crossword.
Yeah, and I want to take another stab at correcting you.
Oh, no.
Or to maybe clear up, when you say 15 across and 15 down, that's 15 lines, not 15 clues.
Right, but there's also 15 spaces, right, total?
You know what I'm saying?
And if there weren't any blacked out blanks, you would have a 15-letter word across at the top, a 15-letter word below that, a 15-letter word below that, and then from up vertically, that'd have to make its own 15-letter word and so on and so forth. So yeah, it'd be 15 across and 15 down, right?
I just want to make sure people knew you didn't mean 15 across clues and 15 down clues. There's 15 lines vertically and 15 lines horizontally. And on each line, there can be as many as, 4 words.
No.
4 clues.
Okay. But that's if you have blank squares. If you didn't have blank... Right, but if you didn't, you'd have to come up with 15-letter words, 30 of them, that all interacted with one another. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I get it, but it sounded... Are we really talking about this long?
Man, this is a brain buster of an episode. I wasn't expecting this.
When you were talking about it initially, it sounded like you were saying there were 15 acrosses and 15 downs.
Yes. If you didn't have black squares, there would be.
Right, but that's not a crossword.
Right. Agreed. But the thing is you could keep adding more and more black squares to make it easier on yourself, the puzzle constructor. And
why? Because they're shorter words?
Yeah, it makes shorter words. It makes it easier to come up with words that interact and intersect with one another. I
disagree.
They said, well, you should take it up with the crossword puzzle constructors because they say it makes it easier.
Oh, really? Because I've begun working on constructing my own. That's sort of the giveaway. Mm-hmm. And I found that having a good long word is a real benefit. Okay,
yeah, it definitely can be. But imagine having to come up with 30 15-letter words that all interact with one another.
That's not a crossword, though. That's my whole point.
Okay, forget it. The other way to look at it, Chuck, is that to show off, crossword constructors use as few blanks as possible.
Yeah, so they can get those longer words.
That's fine. Well, yes, we'll agree to that.
Short words are challenging. I think you're thinking of a word search.
No, I'm not. I know what I'm talking about. Will Shorts, please come to our aid and settle this once and for all.
Oh, well, ironically, I think we've been saying the same thing just in different ways.
I think so, too. We need Jerry here to interpret for us.
Yeah, Jerry's not here today. That's why we're fighting. Let's finish
fighting?
Up this. This is as bad as our fights get. We should finish this part, I think, before we go on and take a break. And that is... when things got hot in the crossword community was the 1920s in the United States. And it was a big deal, such that there were people that came out and said, hey, it was sort of like these jazz cigarettes are ruining our culture. Like these jazz puzzles are ruining things because people are just spending all their time doing crossword puzzles. There was, and in the UK, there was in 1924 a headline from the Tamworth Herald that said crossword puzzles, it should be a colon, and enslaved America. And they were talking about how like men are wasting, it was a sinful waste of time, and that it was a fad that would vanish.
Yeah, that was the New York Times that called it a sinful waste of time. So yeah, there was a real
really funny.
If you considered yourself an intellectual, you definitely looked down on crosswords in the 1920s because it was just such a huge popular pop culture sensation.
Yeah.
There was a song that was called Crossword Mama, You Puzzle Me, and then in parentheses, but Papa's going to figure you out.
It's like vaguely intimidating.
It is. So it was it was a really big deal. But yeah, as much as the New York Times and some of the other of the tongue-clucking set wished, crosswords didn't go anywhere. They just became more and more popular. And eventually they did catch on in Britain, Chuck. They have their own version called cryptic crosswords. Did you see anything about that?
Yeah, the cryptics are like the New York Times crossword will have a handful of clues that are sort of deal more in, they're more clever. There's puns. More word play. There's puns. They try to throw you off track. And apparently these in Britain that's all they are.
They are, and they're really tough. They have really different rules than American ones. So an example I saw.
They got no black squares whatsoever.
A clue was artist's phone hacked by terrible woman. And the answer is Chagall, who is an artist. But the reason Chagall is the answer is because in the middle of Chagall, there's the word hag. And if you take the word hag out of Chagall, you have call, which references a phone. Wow, yeah. Like my brain just melted out of my ear a little bit.
Yeah, my deal with the New York Times is I love a good, clever clue like that I can figure out.
Yeah, there's the best I saw for an American crossword. I don't know who wrote it, but it was the clue was it brings out the child in you, and the answer was labor.
That's good. That's sort of, they have those routinely. Like that's really what I'm talking about. That's a good example of a really good, clever but gettable thing.
You know, I really thought I was going to get a better response out of you than that.
For that one?
Yeah, it's a great one. It brings out the child in you. Labor, like you just gave birth to a child.
Yeah, but there were 2 or 3 of those in almost every puzzle.
I know that, but that one is particularly good. We need to start this episode over.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll go hatch this up. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful, it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just a tee, the band tee from the last show your favorite band ever played. You wore it everywhere. Then your girlfriend started wearing it, which was cute until she dumped you and took it with her, which was not so cute.
Yeah, well, anyway, now you're on eBay. And there it is. Same tee from the same tour. Still living in your memory, rent-free forever.
See, the things you love have a way of finding their way back to you. But eBay isn't just for getting whatever your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend stole back, right?
No, it's also for that rare championship foul ball you caught, then heroically gave to the kid next to you. And where else are you going to find your first car? The one you wish you'd never sold. But now, finally get the chance to take it back home. For good this time.
So shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
If you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you know how hard it is to get things done fast and well. Why not have both?
That's right. That's why Wix Harmony stands out. It's a website builder that helps create a site quickly without compromising your vision. You can build a fully functional website for any type of business by just describing what you want. Then everything can be customized and edited to get it exactly right.
There's also built-in support to help answer questions or guide you along the way. And here's what makes it even better. You can click anywhere on your site and make changes instantly. It's these details that make creating with Wix Harmony feel seamless.
That's right. So join millions of businesses already using Wix and try Wix Harmony for free at wix.com/harmony. That's wix.com/harmony. All right, so we mentioned that the New York Times finally got their crossword puzzle years and years after they were all the rage in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when we entered World War II, enter once again Margaret Petherbridge, now Margaret Farrar, wrote a letter to the New York Times. Says, you know what? We're going into war. It's impossible to, and this is a real quote, you can't think of your troubles while solving a crossword.
Too
so
true.
like this is going to be a big distraction for everyone during this tough time. And the New York Times said, you know what? I think you're right. And why don't we hire you to do it? And you can be our editor. And she said, I'd be happy to do that for 27 years.
Right, man. This was 1942, I think, that they brought her on board. And Margaret Petherbridge Farrar had been, Petherbridge had been involved in the crossword world since the beginning, since they were invented. And so who else would you bring on as the first editor of the New York Times crossword but
She's the
her?
one. Yeah.
Yeah. And she did it for 27 years, like you said, which is eclipsed in time only by the current crossword editor, Will Shortz, who's been doing it for like, I think 30-something years, 32 maybe. But yeah,
30 on the nose.
She had a really huge impact on crosswords. And that's something that I think a lot of people overlook. The impact that crosswords have on society and culture is really like under the radar, but it is really significant because what you choose as words and clues and the way that you put things has there's millions of people all experiencing that same that same puzzle. And so it's like you're planting seeds in millions of people's heads, and those millions of people go on to talk and interact, and it has a really huge, far-reaching effect, way more than you'd think of, especially the New York Times crossword.
Yeah, there's something that I realized is that, and I was just naive because I didn't know much about it, and I hadn't seen the documentary Wordplay at that point.
Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, it's great.
Good.
But there's a real community around it, and once I started doing it, I think I told you that Hodgman and I were talking on the phone about something else, and the crossword came up, and he had been doing it. He's a big words guy, no surprise, and does play Scrabble with his wife and for years and years and decades. And so he's long done the New York Times, and I was like, oh, cool. And we started talking about it, and I was so new to it. I was super excited, and I think that sort of revved his motor a little bit because I was a new guy that was like thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so we started texting a lot about it. And then our friend Ben Harrison of the Greatest Gen podcast, Ben does it. So all of a sudden I've got all these people like colleagues and other podcasters that we like text each other hints, or, John was like, man, text me if you don't know a thing. And I was like, well, I could just look it up. And he said, text me. It's more fun. And I was like, right. There's a community here.
Yeah.
I totally got it.
I can just go lock myself in the basement with a candle and look it up.
And I wasn't saying I shouldn't get in touch with you about it, but I was like, why would I bug you about it? And he was like, no, bug me. That's the whole point is it's like, it can be a social thing, even though it's generally a solo pursuit.
Absolutely. So Margaret Farrar, kind of like coming to our live podcast shows, huh?
Yeah.
So Margaret Farrar, she retired in, I think, 1969, and a guy named Will Wang took over. And Will Wang, he had a huge impact on the crossword as well. He had a great sense of humor, and so he got into that wordplay, those puns, kind of like diversions, like making you think it's one thing when it's really another. The use of a word, that's
Giving labor.
That's got to be a Will Wanger.
Uh-huh.
He was replaced after 8 years. He moved on, and by a guy named Eugene T. Maleska, and he was the editor from 77 to 93. And he's the one that I think a lot of people our age who don't like crosswords think of when they think of how much they don't like crosswords, because he was really big into opera. He was a former school superintendent. He knew Latin, and he expected the crossword puzzlers, the solvers, I should say, to have the same like background in education and tastes that he did. And a lot of people don't, like it's not like you have to hate opera, but if you don't really like opera, you're probably not at all into opera. You know what I mean? It's not like a I'm kind of into opera thing. You know what I mean? And to expect everybody else to understand the clue that wordplay about, and some opera, that it's not, I don't know. I just get the impression that the approachability of it really bottlenecked under Maleska.
Yeah, and the one thing that John and I agree on is like, and this is true when we've designed our trivia games that we used to do, our pub trivia, is that the best clues in trivia, we believe, and in crosswords are ones that you can probably kind of figure out, and even if you don't know the answer. And the worst ones are, this person wrote this book or this opera. And you're like, well, if you don't know it, you don't know it. It's a lot more fun to try and test your brain into seeing if you can kind of figure it out. And eventually you'll do that by getting other letters that intersect with that word, of course. But if it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of lazy to me to be like, just name this person who starred in this movie.
Yeah, lazy is a good way to put it. But on the other hand, like the converse of it is, like you just really touched on an important thing of crosswords, and that they are approachable and they do something to your brain that that taps into a part of your mind and your intellect that's not just rote memory. Where you can combine different things that don't seem to be at all combined, and it just makes it a really like pleasurable thing. A lot of people compare, especially the British version, cryptic crosswords, to reading a miniature murder mystery. Right. And when you figure out who it was, it turns out you were right. Your suspect was the one who did it. That feeling of like, I knew it. That same thing can come from like every single clue almost of a really well-written crossword. And it's kind of the same thing where there's this discovery, and you also have that kind of rush of accomplishment for having figured it out without just knowing a fact that you learned in school. I think that was a really important point you made.
Yeah, but also it's not like you can have, I wouldn't want to go all cryptic. Like a good crossword total in its sum has a mix of both, because it's also nice when you do know something and it's, this man let voices carry, and it's Amy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Did you get that one?
I did. It was pretty good. But would you?
I just made that one up.
Wouldn't you have to? It's good, Chuck, but think about it. You're going to have to fess up and make it two ends.
Well, sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's a huge giveaway, too.
But that's part of the cheekiness of it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But sometimes it literally just says this person starred in whatever movie.
Right. Those are kind of news fest. So there's one other one I want to give of a cryptic crossword that just blows my mind. So that clue is lineage, and the answer is eagle. Can you figure it out?
Well, I mean, I know it because this is something that I read.
Well, pretend like you just figured it out and share it.
No, how about you ask the audience?
Well, audience, do you know?
No.
No, well, I'll tell you. It turns out that lineage can also be read as L in Eage, E-A-G-E. Mm-hmm. Well, if you put L in E-A-G-E, you get eagle.
Yeah, those are tough, man.
That is really tough. You have to be so thoroughly British to be like, yes, I totally am tapping into this. Yeah. It's just a different way of doing it. But it's the same thing, and I think it's neat that everybody's got their own way.
Yeah, actually, let me amend that. My least favorite clues, and I will bail on a puzzle altogether if the theme, and we'll talk about the fact that they have themes in a minute, but if the theme is, it's just, you have to misspell this word in order for it to be right. I hate those.
Yeah, you're like, if it's not a Dukes of Hazzard theme, I don't want to have anything to do with that crossword.
Back to Will Shortz in the timeline of editors, because like you said, there's only been, 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good gig. The least tenured was, 8 years?
Yeah, Will Wing.
So it seems like a job that people like because they keep doing it forever. But Shortz has been there for 30 years. There was no full-time staff there besides himself when he came on, just a part-time assistant. And he changed that, had somewhat of a staff all of a sudden. He added the byline, which is a big deal. When you go to your daily puzzle, you see who wrote it and who constructed it, which is kind of cool. And before that, there was no byline at all. And then he said, you know what, we should also get like clues that like talked about people of color and talked about different types of cultures and more diversity overall. I'll also add brand names, which is something they never did before.
Yeah, for sure.
So just really kind of opened it up.
He definitely did. He also started publishing from a lot of different people too, including teenagers. I think up to the Shortz era, only I think like 16 teenagers had ever been published in the New York Times. And since he's been there, I think it's like 64 now.
No, that was 6 teenagers.
6 teenagers? That's even less than I thought before.
Yeah, 6, and then during his tenure, 46.
Wow. So I really
cool.
screwed the pooch on that one, but the gist was still correct.
One thing that is also correct is they do get progressively harder. And I was sort of wrong when I first started doing it. I thought Sunday was the hardest. They get more intellectually challenging Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday's sort of like a midweek level, but it's just larger.
That's what I saw. About 140 clues usually.
Yeah, it's not lines.
I know, not lines. It's not what I meant.
Let's do this great example that Livia gave, because this is another kind of fun head teaser, brain teaser. So the clue sandwich, often given a twist, might be the Saturday clue for Oreo, whereas the Monday version might just be Nabisco sandwich cookie.
I saw that they start out easy on Monday and then get increasingly harder day by day because they assumed that the crossword solvers out there were still recuperating from the weekend come Monday morning, and that they were getting sharper and sharper as the days went on.
And then on Monday, you get to just blaze through one.
No, like you're still hungover on Monday, so they made it easy on you.
That's what I'm saying. And you get to blaze through it in 10 minutes and feel good about yourself again.
Right, exactly. And then throw up from having to focus on the little tiny print for an hour.
But just to explain, in case you don't do them at all and you're like, I don't get the Oreo thing, sandwich often given a twist. People often twist the Oreo apart.
Sure.
It is a cookie sandwich. And as Livia astutely points out, that also satisfies what you see a lot in crosswords, which is the short word with a lot of vowels. Like once a week, Enya, the new age artist Enya, is a clue.
She's been topical for 30-something years because of her name.
It's really funny. And there are different ways of like describing the clue or whatever, but it's very funny. It's always like this new ager or something like that. And so I said, oh, there's Enya.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too that I think you kind of referenced earlier is, you start to get a feel for the language of crosswords. And sometimes some clues are virtually the same as others. There's only so many ways you can describe Enya. So that'll start popping up, especially if it's a vowel heavy word.
We should talk about themes a little bit more though, right?
Sure.
Well, they're themed a lot of times. Not always, but it seems like out of the 7 days, I would say 3 or 4 of them are usually themed at least.
Okay.
And that is when there would be like, it's usually like 4 or 5 of the clues have a theme, and then there would be an additional one that says blank, blank, blank is the clue, and then it will say, or a great clue to the answers, 4, 17, 16, and 24. So it'll be a clue plus an additional thing that sort of help describe what the theme might be.
Right.
Like the theme, the answer might be double S, and that is also the theme of the other ones that you hopefully got by that point.
One of the other things I saw that make theme crosswords popular, especially among constructors, is that the theme answers are usually multi-lettered, say 10 letters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big, long string of consonants and vowels that you can use to branch other words off of, to intersect with. So you'll have 4 or 5 theme words, so you've got 4 or 5 10-letter words right off the bat.
Yeah.
But you don't have to come up with 30, 15-letter words. So it's much more advantageous.
Yeah, and like the example Olivia gave of a theme, this is very typical. Winner of a preparing contest would be best sheller, and so the theme ends up being adding an H in other common terms to make it a different term. So in other words, instead of bestseller, it's best sheller. Another one in that same theme would be Lothario's line in a singles bar, pick up shticks instead of pick up sticks. So themes like that I really enjoy, but the themes I don't like are, like I said, when it's like, this is the word misspelled or something.
Okay. I gotcha.
Okay. I'm getting on my crossword soapbox a little.
I say we take our second break and then come back and talk about how people out there who are like, I like hearing about these crosswords, I'm going to go try one. Yeah. Wait, because we're about to inform you how to solve them more efficiently, starting in just a minute or two after this moment.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just a tee, the band tee from the last show your favorite band ever played. You wore it everywhere. Then your girlfriend started wearing it, which was cute until she dumped you and took it with her, which was not so cute.
Yeah, well, anyway, now you're on eBay. And there it is. Same tee from the same tour. Still living in your memory, rent-free forever.
See, the things you love have a way of finding their way back to you. But eBay isn't just for getting whatever your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend stole back, right?
No, it's also for that rare championship foul ball you caught, then heroically gave to the kid next to you. And where else are you going to find your first car? The one you wish you'd never sold. But now, finally get the chance to take it back home. For good this time.
So shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
If you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you know how hard it is to get things done fast and well. Why not have both?
That's right. That's why Wix Harmony stands out. It's a website builder that helps create a site quickly without compromising your vision. You can build a fully functional website for any type of business by just describing what you want. Then everything can be customized and edited to get it exactly right.
There's also built-in support to help answer questions or guide you along the way. And here's what makes it even better. You can click anywhere on your site and make changes instantly. It's these details that make creating with Wix Harmony feel seamless.
That's right. So join millions of businesses already using Wix and try Wix Harmony for free at wix.com/harmony. That's wix.com/harmony.
So the New York Times went so full bore into, which is, by the way, is not sexual, kind of like balls out, into crosswords, that they actually have a crossword column, not just a crossword. They have a columnist dedicated to writing about crosswords.
Yeah.
Her name's currently Deb Amlin. Well, that's probably always going to be her name from now on, but I'm saying the current columnist is named Deb Amlin.
Sure.
And she's at the New York Times, and she's got some tips that she maintains they're pretty good if you want to start out learning how to kind of basically solve a crossword a little faster than you might have on your own.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, there are lots of fun blogs outside the New York Times too that write kind of funny takedowns of the day's puzzle.
Nice.
But Amlin says to start by scanning for the answers you definitely know for sure.
Right.
It's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Take a guess sometimes, but use your eraser. Of course, I do mine on the app online version.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get like the intersecting words more, things will reveal themselves.
Right.
So it's fine to take a guess because you can go back and redo the word once you've realized that you were wrong.
Another one she suggests is yours and Hodgman's method, working with another person.
Yeah.
Via text or in person.
It can be fun.
Over the breakfast table. Sure. If you get stuck, just take a break. You don't have to finish this thing. It's not a competition. Like, you can walk away from it and come back. And oftentimes you'll do that kind of unconscious thinking, almost like sleeping on it without sleeping. And these things that just seem totally impenetrable will suddenly seem clear to you with fresh eyes.
That happens almost every time I do that.
Yeah.
It's and I told Hodgman that, and he went, yeah, that's a documented phenomenon that happens.
Yeah.
Another one is that and this is very controversial, but everyone has their own way of doing it. There's no right way of doing it. There are some purists, I'm sure, that do not cheat at all. And if they don't finish it, I guess they just don't finish it. I like to finish it. So here's what I do. I will do all my acrosses first, and then I'll do a check, and it tells you what you've gotten wrong. Mm-hmm. Then I do all the downs, and then I do a check, because I don't want to I don't have hours and hours a day to work on these things, and I want to finish them. So I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out something and drive myself crazy if I've gotten a crossword wrong to begin with.
Yeah.
Because then you're just throwing yourself off. So I do a check, one check down, one check across, and that's the only sort of cheats I'll use most times, unless I'm just really stuck at the end and I can't get the last couple. Then I'll cheat and I'll be like, all right, because what you're doing is you're learning something. Mm-hmm. If you're stopping 3/4 of the way through because you refuse to cheat, then you might be missing out on learning something cool. So,
yeah.
Or solve it your own way. If you want to be a purist and just not finish it, that's fine too.
So I think that's great words of advice, Chuck.
Yeah.
Some other ones I saw are, so when you're looking at the clue, the plurality of it.
That's a big one.
If the clue is plural rather than singular, the answer has to be plural. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, if you see something that has a plural clue, you can just go ahead and add an S at the end.
Right.
Same with tense. So if the clue is past tense, you can add an ED right at the bottom of the answer. Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to fill up a couple of squares right off the bat too.
Totally.
And as you fill in other ones, say, that are going across, and you're filling down answers with S's and EDs, that stuff's going to fill up a lot faster and become clear.
Yeah. We talked about the language of crosswords, which you just sort of get more familiar with as you do them. Mm-hmm. Partner, whenever you see the word partner in there, it's usually linking words together. So the example that Livia gave was partner of live. The answer would be learn, because you usually hear live and learn. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that.
They also will abbreviate words, but they say that they're abbreviating it. So following the clue, it'll be, say, ABBR period, or for short, or in brief. Or they'll actually put an abbreviation in the clue. So a clue of elephant group, as in GRP, the answer is GOP, because that's an abbreviation of Grand Old Party, and the elephant group is the abbreviated group GRP. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but not all abbreviations. It's usually, if it's something abbreviated that usually isn't, group was abbreviated. If you see...
good point.
Like what Livia put down is a great example. If you see VIP, that doesn't necessarily mean that the answer is going to be an abbreviation because
Right.
VIP is common.
Yeah, people don't typically abbreviate group.
Right.
You'll also very rarely see the same word twice in a single crossword.
Yeah.
It's considered bad form among crossword constructors. Constructors also frequently give you fill-in-the-blank clues as a gimme. So there's a blank and then the second word or something like that in a clue makes it probably pretty easy to figure out based on the number of letters. That's one you can start with. And then also I saw that you should start at the bottom right because the premise is that constructors typically will start at the top left, and by the time they make it to the bottom right, which is the end of the puzzle, they're tired and they've stopped being quite as clever, so you can figure out the clues in the bottom right easier.
Yeah. I'd start with 1 and 1. That's how I do it.
Okay.
There's some other fun ones, and I wish I would have looked up an example, but one that you see every single day is like word preceding, cat and basket. And it'll be a word that you often see linked up before cat and basket. That isn't one because I can't think of one for
Case.
cat and basket. Case cat?
Cat case and basket case.
Oh, okay. But that would be not
Proceeding?
preceding, but yeah. So they'll do that a lot. Here's some things that I didn't know, which now I'm going to be better at. Well, I did know this. If it's a question mark at the end of the clue, that usually means it's probably a pun or some kind of wordplay, like current events is really current events. So tides, because tides have currents, it's an event that
Yeah, and
happens
you thought it was
within the
news.
tides.
And then you're like, what's that fifth letter for?
Well, and a lot of times the obvious answer that's wrong will have the same, if they're really good, it'll have the same number of letters.
Right.
So you're like, it has to be news. It fits.
Yeah, exactly.
But the ones I did not know was that if it's in a quote, then the answer is a synonym for a spoken phrase. And I sort of knew it was sort of like that, but I didn't know it was always like that. And then if it's in brackets, and I didn't know this at all, I never knew what the brackets meant.
Yeah.
The brackets usually mean that the answer is nonverbal.
Right. Like the example Olivia gives is that's painful in brackets. The answer might be grimace.
Right.
The
Never
thing
knew
is,
that.
I didn't know the brackets one either. The thing I like about the quotes one is it's intuitive. Like I didn't know that was a convention, but I know that
Yeah.
I've figured that out, plenty of times doing crosswords, just seeing those quotes. It's a really great convention, I think.
And then the heteronyms, these are my favorite. These are the really clever ones where it's something that can be pronounced in two different ways, and you're intuitively led down a path to believe it's one and it's really the other. So the example that Livia found was kitchen drawer. So you're trying to think of like, what's a kitchen drawer? What could it be? What could it be? And the answer is aroma. So it's not kitchen drawer, but a kitchen drawer, as in the aroma draws you into the kitchen.
Such a great one.
I know. I love that stuff.
Not as good as labor, but still pretty good.
Okay.
So you said you're trying your hand at constructing puzzles. How's it going?
Well, I mean, I've started the idea of trying. I'm trying to find a partner. I asked Hodgman, and he sort of didn't say anything back. So I think that was a soft pass.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ben seemed a little more into it, and I wanted to see if I could get stuff he should know in there as a clue, because obviously that would be another bucket list thing for us.
That would be great. Oh yeah, man. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So the New York Times actually, Deb Ammon wrote Amlin, sorry. She hosted a blog post, a 4 or 5 part blog post that is really in depth. Where she interviewed the people who actually edit and create the New York Times crosswords and how they do it, and it is not at all created the way that I thought they were created. Did you see that at all?
I haven't looked at that yet. It's on my list because I know it's going to inform my process.
Yeah,
but
that'll be really helpful.
I've been kind of waiting. Is there like I kind of thought there might be programs that help you sort of lay it out.
They mentioned that. They do use programs to kind of basically create grids and stuff like that more easily, but they don't use things like autofill, which will just populate it with words and then come up with suggested like clues or anything like that. They come up with them themselves, which you would hope with the New York Times crossword puzzle. But the way that they create this, and I think it's like almost like an assembly line if it's done the way the blog post suggests, where one team will come up with the theme and they'll come up with the answers, the words for that theme. Okay? So let's say you have five different words that are the theme answers. And then that's it. They hand it off to the next people. The next people create the grid, and they have to figure out where to put those 5 theme answers in there. And once they have that done and they have the black squares in there and everything like that, they hand it off to the people who populate the grid with words. You want to avoid 3-letter words. You want to definitely no less than 3.
You can't have less than 3.
Right. So it's actually kind of hard to come up with words that are interesting, right? Because those are your answers. And then after that, after the whole thing's been populated, they hand it off to the people who write the clues based on the words in the grid. Isn't that nuts? It's like the opposite of solving it.
When you say they, though, do you mean, is this when the New York Times is doing their own?
So yes, that's my impression. I think for the most part, if you write construct your own crossword, you're doing every step of this. Right. I don't know if they broke it down into teams of 2 to make sure that everybody was interviewed in this, or if they really do it assembly line style, and a team of 2 will create the theme, a team of 2 will create the grid, a team of 3 populates it with words, and a team of 2 does the clues, writes the clues. But it's really mind-boggling how it all comes together. It comes together in the opposite way that you would solve the puzzle, which is one reason why Will Shortz, he was interviewed by Neil Conan on, I think, Science Friday, where he said, like, people who are constructors are typically not good at solving the puzzles and vice versa. If you're really good at solving a puzzle, it does not mean you're going to necessarily be good at constructing it.
You know who's good at both?
Who?
Is Manny Nasowski.
Yeah.
Because Manny retired from medical practice in 1983 and was really into it and was published in 94. And then since that time has created 254 New York Times crosswords to be the most prolific constructor. We keep saying that.
Yeah, I know. It's tough to remember. So Will Shortz, when he started in 93, he was getting 40 to 50 submissions a week, mostly from people age 50 or over.
Yeah.
And as of April 2021, he started getting about 200 submissions a week. That means 200 different people went to the trouble of creating a crossword and sending it into the New York Times. And the age has declined tremendously to about the mid to late 30s today on average. And that's in large part because Will Shortz made a determined effort, like you were saying, to be way more inclusive in the crossword world.
Yeah, and women get a little bit of a bump. I think 20% of submissions come from women, but about 30% of published puzzles are from women. And I was kind of under the impression that all of their puzzles were submitted, so I didn't know that anyone on staff was writing them. I'm curious of the breakdown there.
Yeah, I am as well. I don't know, because they said that they get about 200 submissions per week, but they're only running 7. So that means that the acceptance rate is about 3 to 4%, which would mean that they are accepting, like they're running nothing but submissions rather than house-made ones.
Yeah, this really made me pause, and I'm like, how much time do I want to put into something that I have a 97% chance of like failing?
Well, there's other places that run crosswords aside from the New York Times.
And
I'll tell you, the Toledo Blade would be more than happy to take yours.
Other pleasures do you derive just from having done so? I think it'd be a good, even if it doesn't get published, that doesn't mean, I wrote a great 70s show spec script that never did anything, but in my mind, it lives as a real episode.
I wrote a great Simpsons episode that never did anything, and I love it too.
Yeah, agreed. I'll tell you what people love, though, is crosswords, and watch that documentary Wordplay, because you will see a lot of it about the American Crossword Puzzle Tournament, which started in 1978 when crosswords kind of, after the 20s and 30s, they didn't go away or anything, but they kind of laid a little more low until the late 70s, and they really kind of picked up steam again. And the marketing director of a Marriott hotel in Stamford, Connecticut, said, hey, in the wintertime, no one's coming up here, so let's do a crossword puzzle tournament, like an official New York Times thing, and get Will Shortz to help us plan it. And they've been doing it there ever since. And it's, I think it's in late March, early April this year, and they get, close to 1,000 people coming to this thing.
Yeah, and you get a really good sense of what it's like in wordplay, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's really a great, like if this has been at all interesting to you, this episode, go check out Wordplay. You will absolutely love it. Even if you're not into crosswords, it's a great, social, what is the word? Social?
Connector? Bonder?
No, the type of documentary where it's like a little peek inside of humanity.
Sure. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, one of those. It's worth seeing for sure.
As far as them making you smarter, and this was something that you and I talked a little bit about, like one of the reasons I started doing it is because I was under the impression that word games kept you from descending into dementia. And it kind of depends on the study. Some studies have sort of confirmed, or at least backed it up. Some studies said there was no effect. Some studies say that it might just be the placebo effect happening. Other people say like these things are fine, but being like genuinely creative with your brain is better for staving off dementia. So I read this stuff and I was a little disappointed, but I kind of figure it can't hurt, and can be a part of the recipe of keeping your brain sharp.
Yeah, as far as I know, none of the studies were like, don't do crosswords. They're going to completely rot your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, what that one about the placebo effect I thought was pretty interesting. When they advertised the puzzle as a brain training, people did better on an IQ test than people who were in a control group and did the same puzzle, but it wasn't advertised as brain training. So I don't think it matters. If a placebo effect doesn't matter, it doesn't diminish it,
Sure.
Like if you can take a sugar pill and get the same result as taking a medication, like great. That's fantastic. I don't understand why everybody's always putting down the placebo effect.
Yeah, that sugar pill probably didn't have side effects too.
Well, it is sugar, so there's probably some, but
There was a study in 2014 that found that if you're a crossword or Scrabble, it says expert, but I would even say enthusiast, then you had a stronger working memory than the group compared, which was, I think, college students who had a 700 or better verbal on the SAT.
Yeah.
And apparently they're better at like visual. Can I say that right?
I don't think so.
I think that is right. Visuospatial information and integrating verbal and oh man. Visuospatial. You're not going to help me out here, are you?
No, VS information. How about that?
VS information in your short-term memory. Jeez, I got to go finish. I'm ironically pretty stumped on today's crossword, as you can tell.
Oh, yeah? Have you been doing it while we've been talking?
No. I made a little bit of time earlier, but I'll usually not do it all in one go. Like the Monday through Wednesday, I can generally knock out pretty quick. Like Mondays, sometimes you can knock those out in like 11 minutes, and that's super speedy.
What?
Yeah, that's my record, I think.
Wow. That's impressive, man.
But yeah, shout out to Ben and John Hodgman and Mark Gagliardi, another podcasting friend who is an enthusiast.
Nice.
It's fun doing this stuff.
Shout out to all you constructors and solvers out there, right?
Yeah. If I ever get my own byline, then you can bet Stuff You Should Know will be a clue.
Awesome. I appreciate that big time, Chuck. Since that is probably it, right? You got anything else?
I got nothing else.
Well, then that means it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this correction on animal stuff.
Oh, boy.
This is from Daniel, and this is a good correction, too, because this feels like one of those things that's just printed everywhere and everyone believes is true. But apparently possums don't eat ticks.
Yeah, okay. All right, fine. All right.
Hey, guys, I'm writing because I was listening to the Possums podcast, and I heard you guys repeat an old myth that was fact, and I wanted to set the record straight. The idea that possums eat thousands of ticks a year is a complete myth. It's based on a single study in which researchers placed 100 larval ticks on many different animals, waited 4 days, then counted all the ones that fell off. The ones that did not fall off were assumed to have been eaten. Someone read that study, assumed this was the same as the number of ticks they'd eat in the wild, and came up with the numbers that we heard.
So, is there anything out there that disproves it, or is this really just a critique of the quality of the study and the extrapolation?
Part 2.
Okay.
More recently, guys, a study was done with possums in the wild and found no evidence that they ever eat ticks.
Man.
They checked the stomach of many wild possums, couldn't find evidence of even a single tick eaten. Here's a link to an article on the study, and this is from Field and Stream magazine, and I'm not going to argue with those guys.
They carry guns.
Yeah, they cover both Field and Stream.
So, just a couple of things. Number one, Daniel ruins everything.
No.
Number two, I still have plenty of possum pride, and
Sure.
That's fine. It doesn't diminish the possums one iota in my eyes. Nice try, Daniel.
No, I agree. I think it's like possums were great before the tick thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're certainly great taking the tick thing away.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I can tell you that Instagrammer's not going to like this.
Well, you know, what are you going to do? Can't please everybody.
No, you can't. If you want to be like Daniel and ruin something for us or try to but fail at it terribly, you can do it via email to stuffpodcast@iheartradio.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
When it comes to small business, people want to talk to people, not bots, not voicemail. Your customers or clients want a real human connection, and that's exactly what they get with Ruby. Ruby is the virtual receptionist company that takes care of your callers when you're unavailable, in the middle of something, or just don't want to pick up. They can answer, screen, and transfer calls, as well as take messages, collect payments, book appointments, and more. All while saving you time and making the people you serve feel special. It's available 24/7, 365 days a year, and is 100% based in the U.S. See how it works at ruby.com, or better yet, give them a call at 844-900-RUBY.
The next time you end up with something on your shirt, don't turn to your usual detergent. Check out Tide Evo. Tide Evo represents over 10 years of innovation in product development. It's a revolutionary 100% concentrated waterless laundry tile made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. It's not pods and it's not sheets. It uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging. It's mess-free, lightweight, and dissolves quickly. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic. Making sense of the news is a full-time job, but it doesn't have to be yours. Not when the Guardian's new podcast, Stateside with Kai and Carter, does it for you. 3 times a week, journalists Kai Wright and Carter Sherman cut right to it, asking what's actually happening and why does it matter. Drawing on the Guardian's reporting, they provide perspectives on everything from sports to fashion and deliver it with clarity and context. Listen to Stateside with Kai and Carter, wherever you get podcasts or watch on YouTube.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.